Welcome back, boomers and shroomers. This is Carla, and I'm here today in my kitchen for an excellent party starter of a recipe. Today, I am making fried mushrooms with zesty chili salt. Unlike my other entertaining recipes where I will tell you to front load all of the work so that when people come over, you're just heating and eating. In this one, it's all about the show. You're gonna be doing things to order. You're gonna be doing it a la minute. That's the energy you're gonna create in your kitchen. This has kind of got a fritto-misto tempura batter. The mushrooms get shallow fried, so you don't have to deal with deep frying. And then they get this like spicy, sassy citrus salt sprinkled over. They're addictive, you're gonna love it, and you're gonna be the star of the show. You are. So you just wanna seek out like a pretty mushroom. I'm using my takes. You can get like beach mushrooms, I think would totally work for this. You could also use very ordinary supermarket friendly mushrooms like shiitakes or even creminis. The goal is really just to get them into a shape and size that is going to be friendly for picking up and snacking. So I'm just going to trim the bottoms and then tear the mushrooms into, you know, pieces that after they're dipped and fried, like will be nice to pick up and will cook at a relatively similar rate. The mushroom, of course, is delicious, but it's about the batter, the crispy fried, the yummy salt that you're gonna put on after. And if you are not into fungi, which some people are not, this basic batter is gonna work with thin pieces of fennel. You could do this with small pieces of butternut squash and fry those. You could use shrimp that have been halved down their middle. So it's really anything that will benefit from like a short little time in the fry oil is gonna be great battered. So I'm gonna stop right here and then make the chili salt because the second these come out of the fryer, you wanna season them and not have to stop and do it later. How's this for a memorizable recipe? It is a teaspoon of all of these seasonings. Love it when I set myself up like that. I have kosher salt. I have cayenne. I have MSG. And I'm gonna add the zest of this lemon. I'm gonna use the wedges for squeezing over. A lime would be perfectly acceptable, and actually I think would be very delicious, and lime wedges squeezed over would be great. Once you put the citrus zest in, you really have to go in with your fingers and work it into the other spices because the citrus being wet and oily, it's gonna wanna stick to itself. And you don't want it to clump up, you want it to be evenly dispersed with these dry friends. Another great thing about what happens when you start to work this mixture together is that you're abrading the zest itself, and that's just going to open up more of the essential oils. It's gonna infuse into the salt and everything. I guess a fancier person than myself would use a fresh lemon to make the wedges rather than like giving people their zested lemon, but waste not, want not, you know what I mean? Checking for seeds. Great. Batter up, baby. The batter is a combination of ingredients that I hope you already have. I'm using rice flour in this batter because it helps to keep things really light and crisp, but rice flour does not have any gluten, so it's not gonna provide a ton of structure. That is where all-purpose flour comes to the party. And this is going to also get crisp, but is gonna give the structure and the batter holding together, which we need. Then for a little leavener, so things don't feel heavy and clunky, or you don't want it to feel like bread dough, so we'll get some nice bubbling. I'm using baking powder, making it taste good with salt. And instead of using plain cold water, I'm gonna use bubbly water, so seltzer, club soda, any kind of sparkling water will also just add a little bit more lightness to this. And it could range from 10 to 12 ounces of the bubbly water. This is a 12-ounce bottle, and it kind of depends. You need to go by feel, you need to go by eye. I want this to be about the texture of heavy cream. Some lumps are fine. In fact, if you whisk until there are no lumps. You might develop gluten and the batter will feel stretchy and gummy and not light anymore. When some of these bubbles subside, you can kind of get a visual. This is a little too heavy, a little too gloopy. Adding more. That seems good. Looking for a heavy cream situation. I'd rather need to add more than overdo it now, and I can fry off 1 or 2, and if I need to adjust the batter, I will do that when we're over there. So it's party time. Ding dong. Friends are coming. What cocktail are you pouring? You better have that figured out. I consider this a shallow fry. I have about 1/4 inch of oil in the bottom of the pan. It's not going to be enough to submerge the mushrooms, and that really ended up being okay. And I'm looking for an oil temperature about 375, 73, yeah, if it's a little over, like I'm at 380, that's okay. I'm gonna maintain that heat while I batter and dip the mushrooms. So I only want to put as many into the oil as will fit without touching each other. If they touch each other, they're going to want to stick to one another, and we just need them to stay on their own private islands until the very end. So I'm just submerging them and coating them. I don't want to break them up anymore, but they really only need like a light coating of batter. So taking them out and letting the excess drip off. So next to me, I've got a rimmed baking sheet with a rack underneath it and some paper towel on top. If you don't have a rack like this, that's okay. Just do a landing place with paper towel. And I want to fry these until they're golden brown and crisp and the mushrooms are tender. So like carefully turning them. But see, it's like okay that half of them are sticking out because they're small enough and they're not sticking to the bottom and they're getting evenly brown. So the vibe would be if people were coming over, I would give them a drink first. Then I would be like, oh, I have a little snack ready to go. Then you're frying. Everybody's like, oh my God, you're frying, blah, freaking out. And then you're putting on a show. You're giving your friends something delicious. You are doing what feels like a fancy little appetizer. I'm gonna put them in this little dish. It's just lined with plain brown paper. Like you could use a cut up brown paper bag. You could use a little bit of newspaper. If you're not going directly into the next batch, in between batches, lower the heat because without anything in the oil temperature is gonna continue to rise. So if you wanna just hit pause for a second, make a few, season a few, nibble on these, and then get going on the next batch. That's how I would do it. Just gonna give them a little lemon. Spicy and lemony. The mushroom is like perfectly cooked through, totally tender. Still really like juicy in there, crispy little edges. It's perfect. Whoa! Where'd you come from? Hey, if you're gonna be here, make yourself useful. Can you put these in there?
Yes, mother.
How do they look?
They look good.
Do you like mushrooms?
I do. I like mushrooms on a lot of things. Like
Mondays,
pizza.
Tuesdays. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, crunchy.
Right? Little zesty chili salt for you?
No, what do you know?
All right, honest opinions only.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Crunch factor? 1 out of 10?
Like a 9.
Like a 9 on crunch factor.
But it's a good amount of spicy.
Great. So we like the sprinkle. How about mushroom flavor?
Great. I love mushrooms.
What else do you think this batter would be good on?
I don't know.
Exactly. You could deep fry your toe and it would taste good. Am I right?
I would have to beg to differ.
Okay, fried mushrooms have passed the muster and passed the master. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
Every day is a party with you.
Cosmo, is there anything that you'd like to say to your fans?
Not every day is a good hair day, but today is.
That was Cosmo's message to his fans.
Alright guys, you know the drill. Go down to the comment section, like, subscribe, and write a comment about your zesty chili mushroom experience. Could be whatever you want it to be. I'll see you in our next video. Haha.